Morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Lord Selkirk West Kildonan Community Committee to order. It's September 3rd, 2025. I'm Councillor Debbie Sharma, serving as chairperson of the committee today. Joining me are Councillor Ross Eby and Councillor Vivian Santos. To begin by acknowledging that we're on Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Innu, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation and Treaty 3 territory. Also joining today is our planner, Ms. Simi Jerez, and our clerk today is Ms. Jade Noctical.
Madam Chairperson, I'd like to move the minutes of our previous regular Lord Selkirk West Committee and special meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Eby moves the minutes on for July 4th, July 11th, and July 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Carried.
Motion to have.
Santos.
I move a motion. I'm sorry.
For Councillor Santos.
Yeah, we need I'll so moved to allow Councillor Santos to do it remotely.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried. Thank you.
Before we move into delegations, I believe I'd like to move a motion to suspend the rules to allow another speaker. I believe Al Weeb on the Hope Valley. I'm not too sure if he's there in person or over Zoom.
Al is here.
He's here in person, and that delegation, Madam Clerk, which item, please, if you could.
Item number 4, which is Land Education Reserve Fund Main Street Project, Hope Valley Beautification.
Sure. All in favor of adding the delegation?
Aye.
Contrary? That's carried.
Thank you.
Now into delegations.
So our first delegation, we have Inspector Hall to speak directly to police matters. So we have Inspector Hall via Zoom.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Yeah, my screen isn't coming up for some reason. Cannot start video because it's disabled by host. Just FYI if you can't see me.
You look great.
Oh, here we go. Perfect. Okay.
Thank you, Inspector. We see you. Thank you.
All right, no problem. So I'll just go through the usual statistics that I generally do, and then I'll be open for questions. So just going through the summer, obviously a busy summer in North District like it generally is. I'll go through some of August's statistics. So for the month of August, dispatch calls for service were at 3,615, which is a little high, but given that it's summer, I'm not surprised. Our community support unit took 560 calls for service, which is high. Generally, we're in a 300 to 400 range, so 560 helped keep our calls for service down, thanks to our community support unit. Total divisional arrests for the month are 402. We're generally in the area of around 380 to 350, so a little high. And then our warrant arrests are around 23 for the month, which is right in that median. Our hot spots, so any crime areas we suspected we had high crime. We spent about 78 hours total of police activity in these designated areas for the month of August. Community engagements was a little lower at 40 hours, but again, school wasn't on and it's summer break. Our SPATs, so officers getting out of cars and engaging in community while they're working in general patrol, was at 930 hours, which is really high and it's really good. We're generally in the area of 400 or 500 hours. Our traffic stops, total traffic stops, we had 781 events in August. Our tag count was actually quite high for the month. And our traffic events, we had 207 events, and those events are generally community driven complaints or areas in the North District that we see are problems. We'll spend some enforcement time there. So we had 207 events for a total of 266 hours spent. Our total proactive time spent with the community, both in our community support unit and general patrol, was at 1,528 hours, which is really high and really good for us. So generally we're under 1,000 hours, given the fact we were so busy this summer. Getting out in a community that much was good. Only two things I'll add to the stats. Just so you're aware, today is what we call an overlap day, where we have double the amount of police officers working. So given that school has started, we have 4 or 5 different enforcement projects going on near schools throughout the North District today. just to let everyone know that school's back on. Although we'll be issuing some tickets, a lot of it's just going to be warning people to slow down in these school zones. And just as a side note, this Saturday, North District is hosting a little barbecue for the community. So people are encouraged to come out in the community and just meet with police. There'll be food and bouncy castles. Wasac Community Center, which we are housed beside, will be hosting with us as well. But then Cole's notes, that's it from the month of August and the summer, pending any questions from councilors.
Thank you, Inspector. Any questions today? Appreciate your report. Okay. None today. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the work of your crew.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next delegation.
Chairperson, I get lots of commendments of the community support team in the north end there, so it's really good.
Great sentiment. Thank you. Delegation 2, Madam Clerk.
Our next delegation is Trisha Kulangpaman, Project Manager, Higher Level Foundation, to be heard with respect to report number 4. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for
Trisha, could I ask?
presenting at the end of the table, please. Yes, please, just in the center, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Amazing. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. My name's Trisha, and I'm here on behalf of the Hope Alley Beautification Project. My charity that I started, Higher Learning Foundation, is part of the project planning team, and we have been working with the artists to get the mural installations done at Hope Valley this year in September. Now, something that Higher Learning Foundation is really passionate about is creating safe spaces, and our way to do that is through mural projects. So after connecting with Al and talking about his passion for the area and what he's looking to do in terms of make it a brighter and more welcoming space, we really work together to bring together some local artists. One in particular is Kenneth Lavalle, and Kenneth is known for all the star blanket murals that we see in the community and in the surrounding areas. And we also have HLF's art resident, Emmanuel Jarvis and his team that are going to help mentor another youth artist from the city, Noah Mikula, who's going to be helping with the project. Now, I would be so grateful for you to lend your support to this project, because as we start to see the numbers showing that we're seeing increased numbers of homelessness within community, it's important for spaces like these to be readily accessible so that we can protect, care for, and nurture those who are struggling. And mural art is just such a beautiful way to do it. As we see, it's a large wall, so it's going to be a showstopper. But just from even personal experience of us doing the community call, we saw how much frontline care is provided in areas like this. So this is phase 1 of a longer term vision that Al and everyone has for Hope Valley. And like I said, I would just really appreciate you lend your support so we can do a really beautiful project this summer. So thank you.
Thank you, Trisha. Any questions? Councillor Santos?
Hi, Trisha. Thanks for coming out. Really appreciate that. Could you speak, maybe yourself or maybe if Al could speak, about some of the community consultation that has occurred to date, or if it will be occurring to date with respect to the mural? Because my understanding was something like that was going to be done with the community to kind of choose either the pattern or the colors, just to get them a little bit more involved so that, when the community gets involved, they feel like they have an ownership. Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, of course. So we did a community consultation on August 1st, and it was Al, Anna, and Chaz, for instance, that were all there. And we brought some donuts and coffee out to the group and just started to have some one-on-one conversations with people that were sitting in the area. And they gave us a list of things that they would like to see. Some noticeable trends that were really popular were Words of Hope, the Tree of Life, and even a son. So just after getting that community consultation done, we gave the notes, which Anna provided, to the artists, and they came up with the initial mock-up. Nothing's been presented or anything yet. They're really just in the design phase. But yes, we did base all the original ideas on the voices that were at the space when we were giving out donuts.
Perfect, thank you. Appreciate that. I do have another question, Madam Chair. Talk about a little bit of the time frame. I think we're in a bit of a crunch, it's my understanding. Could you explain how we need to kind of get the money flowing kind of quickly, or how are we looking at the mural going up this September, October? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, of course. So we are definitely in quite the time crunch. We have been through this process. Understandably, there are delays, but we have the artists ready to go. And we really want to get this done during September because we want to make sure it's done by National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. But we also want to be able to present this further to community to show that we have actually fully started the process. From my understanding, this is something that has been part of the initial proposal that from 2022. So we really just feel like time is of the essence right now. And it's getting colder. We're really on a time crunch in terms of how much time the artists have to work with. So September is the primary time. So we can really get this going and move forward with the longer term vision, with ease.
Yeah, okay. And then to that point, because this is land dedication and we know that the current agenda or the current motion is basically to not approve. So I just want to put some words on the record that I will be pushing to have this approved, and then it will go through EPC to council. But unfortunately, the funds are not going to be flowed until later on, until the end of the month. Or is there going to be any complications with you guys still being able to do your work without the money in hand right now?
So we have made a couple of pre-arrangements. For instance, I'm able to front for the lifts, and then we're working with Main Street Project to see if we can just get the initial front, just so we can at least pay the artist fees, and they'll pay for the paint, and then I'll get the lift. So that's the contingency plan, because we really do want to get this going forward, understanding that it does take a couple of weeks for the full funding to be received. And with partial funds, we don't really need them until the end of the month, just because those are just the final artist fees and a couple of other charges. But the immediate urgency is for the lifts, for the paint, and for the artist deposits.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. I see on page 3, you've outlined the costs, what they're going to be used for, the breakdown.
Yeah.
Is there any other group that's participating other than, I think it was Higher Learning?
Higher Learning Foundation, Main Street Project, and then we're just working in partnership with Owl Leap.
I see Councillor Santos is now back with that. Councillor Santos?
Sorry, no, I'm okay. I was waving at somebody that was leaving.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation today.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a good day.
Madam Clerk, next delegation.
Next delegation is Ray Mann, Register Architect, President of the Winnipeg Chinese Cultural Community Center. To be heard with respect to Community Center Grant, Winnipeg Chinese Cultural and Community Center Report number 2.
Welcome.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Ray Wan Architect. In history, I've been in front of you as an architect, but today I'm representing myself as the president of the Winnipeg Chinese Cultural and Community Center. I'm newly elected in April. And picking up a file from previous years, I'm in front of you really is for the Community Incentive Grant Program. In previous year, 2020, we have applied for a grant of $30,000 for the renovation of the second floor of the Cultural Center. And it was subsequently approved. But the project was delayed due to the pandemic and pushed to not able to complete in year 2022. Instead, it was finished last year in March 2024. Through the time, we also have changed the leadership twice. The original president that applied for the original grant is no longer on as president. And I'm picking up a file and notice that we have spent over 130,000 on our reserve fund to pay for grants that we never did received. And we dig in deeper to it was a miscommunication. There was a communication breakdown between the city and our staff. But regardless the detail, I'm in front of you to ask for the support because the project, the delay of the project, it originally budget was $670,000 and back in 2020. And the final bill we paid, we ended up paying $950,000. So we have a little bit of a double whammy over here. Is the budget gone over budget due to increase of construction cost, delay of the project, and we did not receive all the grants that was committed by multi-level governments, including the $30,000 grant that we originally applied for. My understanding that $30,000 was approved at one time. The communication breakdown led to us missing that grant. So I am reapplying, although the project is complete, the administration report is suggesting a deny because the project has been completed. It's not a new project, but I'm asking for special consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just have a question around, so the project's been completed now?
Correct.
Excellent.
Completed in April 2024.
Great. Was there any accessibility components that were enhanced?
Yes. Yeah, all the washroom now is barrier free, and we also installed the UTR, universal toilet room. Elevator has been updated. The entire facility on the second floor is accessible now.
So it was completed in 2024,
Correct.
in April, and we're sort of experiencing still a bit of a shortfall, is that it?
We are experiencing a major shortfall. There is some interim financing happening right now, but keep in mind, WCCCC is a nonprofit organization. What had happened is handcuffed us financially last fiscal year. We basically have to cancel a lot of events and programs that we normally will offer on a monthly or weekly basis. Now that we are back to 2025, we're projecting a better year for fundraising because October we will have a fundraising event. And 2023, we had our biannual fundraising event, and we were able to raise about 130,000 during that gala, and able to pay for the shortfall. And we were short about almost 100,000 short currently.
Thanks for that explanation and detail. It's difficult, as you said, after the pandemic. Organizations are experiencing difficulty with their finances. The events weren't taking place in the same way they were prior to the pandemic. And then it's a volunteer board. You know, it's all very difficult, and I hear that.
Yeah, we have been very fortunate. 99% of the people that work at the center or carry out the events are volunteers.
I assume you've had some conversations with the ward councillor prior to today.
Yes, I have.
Thank you. Are there any other wards in the city that are participating in this, or is it directed to Point Douglas?
Sorry, I missed that
Is
question.
this application directed to this community committee or any others in the city as well?
No, this is the only one.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any further questions? Thank you very much, and congratulations on being the new president.
Thank
I
you.
look forward to hearing more about what's happening at the center over the coming year.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Next delegation, Madam Clerk.
The following persons will be heard with respect to plan approval 1160 Port Avenue, which is report number 8. And a person will have Yasmin Hushaim, project manager of Affinity Architecture. So you can come to the end of the table and you'll have 5 minutes to begin your presentation.
Madam Clerk, I'm just wondering if Affinity Architecture is also here. Are they online or are they here?
Oh, no, I'm on behalf of the owner, I'm the project manager there, so.
And did the next delegation want to come at the same time or after? Are you speaking? Madam Clerk, the next delegation,
Is budget written?
did you want to come at the same? Okay, great.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yasamin Hashemi, the project manager of 1160 Court and Pipeline multi-family project.
Is there a presentation you have?
Yeah, I have the
Okay,
presentation.
we'll just set it up first.
Okay. So do you wanna? You're all set. See it, perfect.
Give us a moment to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. The project property is located at the southeast corner of Pipeline Road and Court Avenue. This site is approximately 253,000 square feet in area and is zoned as RMFS residential multifamily small district under the Winnipeg zoning bylaw. This site includes one lot. The project proposed 12 townhouse building, 4 row townhouses, as you can see here in blue, and 8 clusters, as you can see in yellow. We have fire access, 2 entrances to the site, and 394 stalls, parking stalls, including 9 accessible with 3 van parking. We propose 2 garbage enclosure location, one at the east side, the other one at the center, based on the request of our neighbors. Site features including fencing, community mailbox, garbage enclosures, and landscaping throughout the site. The project proposed different types of units. We have, for the cluster buildings, we have 4 types of building, including 26 unit, 24 unit, 20 units, and 16 unit townhouses, mainly with the same suite plans. The row townhouses have 2 types of buildings, 32 units and 26 units, also mainly typical units we have. This is the elevation that we designed for the project. As is mentioned, we propose to have different colors of cement panels, cement siding, and as you can see, we propose windows based on aesthetics features of the project. The row townhouses height would be almost 34 to 35 feet. And this is the plan for row townhouses. As I mentioned, we have typical plans for these buildings, 2 bedroom units, which are stacked on top of each other and all located side by side. This is for cluster buildings. We have 8 types of these buildings. As you can see, same coloring, same pattern to make it consistent. And this is the plans for suites. As I told you, they are typical for between all the 8 buildings, 4 types of cluster buildings. For the landscaping, we proposed, any question? Oh, sorry. The plans provided slightly exceed the street edge landscaping requirement with 52 trees and 232 shrubs, as well as 380 shrubs for building foundation landscaping and 28 and 126 shrubs for parking lot interior landscaping. We are providing 7 types of trees and 8 types of shrubs. 4-foot high ornamental fence is proposed along the north and west street facing property line, and a 6-foot high wood fence is providing for buffering along the south and east property line. There are some detailed plans of location for different types of landscaping and planting. And if you would like, we can go through that. We had community consultation, we discussed the plans, we discussed landscape plans, site plan, and also elevations. We just, they provided us with some great insights to incorporate into our drawings, and we did. They requested for relocation for waste enclosure located at west side of the site. We just located that at the center, which is between our buildings. For the landscaping, they required us to have some cedar trees along the south property that we proposed 45 pyramidal cedars. They wanted us to have concrete
Pause for a
stairs.
moment. Councilor Reedy, do you have extension of time?
Yeah, I'll move it.
We are done. Yeah,
5 minutes, all in favor?
Okay.
Contrary, carried.
yeah. And site lighting, we provided them with types of lighting that don't cause glare. And yeah, thank you very much.
It's Yasemin, right?
Yeah.
Hashemi?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes, we have some questions. Councilor Reedy, go ahead, and I've got some questions and just comments.
Yeah, I was remembering the hearing, the 4-foot high fence is running along the south part of the property.
Yeah. 4-foot high ornamental fences proposed along the north and west. 6-foot high wood fences provided for buffering along the south and east.
6 feet. On the
Yes.
south side, yeah. What's the distance of the south property line up to pipeline?
So probably to our neighbor.
Yeah, like that common border between the neighbor and the house.
I believe that there are some buffering there. We have some green area between our site plan and our neighbors. We have, I believe that it should be almost 10 feet green.
There's some trees being planted along there.
This is not within our property. Our south. Yeah, I can to. Yeah, our south setback is more than that. We have sidewalks, we have driveway, we have parking, and also we proposed 4 feet of cedar trees for 45 trees to provide them with landscaping along the property line.
Just remember that part of the hearing. Sounds.
Yasmin, page, let's go to slide 1.
You mean the site plan or?
Just your first slide. The, what kind of on-street parking is here? If there's parking issues.
We provided 294 parking lots. 80 of them,
You have how many parking stalls?
294. Just
Is it 394 or 294?
294.
What is it? It's 394.
394. I'm sorry, I get a bit distracted.
Is it 394 then? I just want to
Yes,
confirm, 'cause that's what I
394.
have.
And 40 visitor parking, 3 van accessible stalls, 6 accessible spaces, 80 small car stalls.
Okay. Now the on-street parking, where if there's a need for, spillover parking, sometimes folks do park on the streets. Where is on-street parking that you're aware of?
I believe that we could provide it, we could have on-street parking through Pipeline Road out of the site, right?
So you feel that there is some in the surrounding neighborhood?
Yeah,
But you're probably, what I understand from the developer, that you're also gonna be promoting the bus that's gonna be in the area, right, along Port Avenue, and also promoting, obviously, bicycle use,
yeah, we have
all of that.
44 outdoor bicycle location for within our site, right?
All right. In terms of the, Aspen Meadows, you mentioned that. Can you show us the slide that shows the, maybe slide?
There shared some concerns, right?
Yes. So you were at a meeting with the residents from Aspen Meadows. You
Yeah.
attended. When was that?
It was in May 2025,
In May, yeah.
right?
So you shared the plans.
We shared the plans, we shared the elevations, site plan, landscape planning, and we went through all aspects of the project design. And they also had some comments even on materials like stairs. They would like to go with concrete stairs.
So there was a committee, you have to speak a little slower because I'm trying to write as well. So there was a meeting with the Aspen Meadows residents. And they did provide some feedback. It was good discussion, right?
Yeah,
And they provided feedback and you've incorporated that feedback into the plans?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, the back of the building is beside their property, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of feedback did you receive? You were saying about planting certain trees, right?
Yeah.
Was it additional trees or different trees they wanted?
They want different trees, and also we changed the location because they want to have it through the south property. As you can see here, our original plan we proposed them was the second one.
Can you point to it with your cursor and then you'll
Yes,
run us through
this is what we proposed them, and they requested for having some plants at the south side of our projects. We provided 45 cedar trees here. And also the other comments that they had.
So the cedar trees are going to be planted where? On the south side of the parking lot?
Yes,
Okay.
as you can see, I highlighted in green.
Okay. Green are the trees?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, 45 trees.
And why did they choose cedar trees? Do you know?
They wanted something that be clean and don't take time to get mature. They want to have something that don't take time to grow and don't make the environment messy.
Okay, thank you. So that was one of the points they raised. Cedar trees because the leaves and
Yeah.
fall off and so on. So, and they wanted for 45. Okay, and what was the next thing?
Accommodation, it's not cheap to get cedar trees.
And then the stairs, I think I saw.
Yeah, they didn't like to have us to have a wooden stair here. So we totally agree with them and just change it to concrete stair everywhere throughout the site, not only the side which is facing their property.
So the concrete stairs will be throughout.
Yeah, throughout the site,
And
everywhere.
I guess they are more, there's more of a cost to them as well, but they're more aesthetically pleasing. So that's what you heard from the residents?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Okay, next. What else did we hear from them?
Yeah, they just requested us to relocate the garbage enclosure at the west side of the project. And we located within our site between two of buildings, building 600 and 700, to make it a bit far from their property.
The garbage is where, if you want to just point to it again?
Yeah, the previous location was here,
Okay,
they highlighted in red,
yes.
and
So
now
you've
it's
moved it.
within our side between two buildings. If I'm gonna show it here in one, from this part, it has been located to that part.
Yep, I got it. Good, that's very good. I guess they didn't want to see it from their balconies right there.
Yeah, right, acceptable, reasonable.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Anything else? And you'll be getting garbage collection through the city services, I imagine.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
Right. How many people approximately attended that meeting? Do you recall?
I believe that it was more than 10, almost 10. Yeah, 9. They requested for 9 prints, so including us would be more than 10.
And that group does share with the larger
Yeah,
residents that live in the
Yes.
complex, right? But it's important to us that they be heard, and I'm glad you had that meeting. Thank you for doing that. That was very good consultation. Because they did come to the initial meeting on the rezoning. And they are the adjacent neighbor, and if we can have
Yeah.
good relations with the existing neighbors, that's always a good thing.
totally.
Okay, anything else you want to add about that? Okay. Just give me a second, Councillor Radio. Looking through my,
I think the housing stuff was good.
and then the elevations on page 4, you go there, it's a nice color palette, right? The materials. Can you talk about the materials that you're using?
Yeah, solar panels, cement panels. We just chose this material, which is durable and also nice, and is available with different colors within the market. So we had multiple meetings to discuss what colors match better and make it vibrant and nice. So yeah, this is what we decided to have.
And then there's articulation, some are moved forward, some are back, correct? You want to
Yes,
speak
of
about that,
course.
just to
We-
add some interest?
Yeah, we have balconies, we have roofs here that make it nice. As you can see, we have some vertical elements, make it vibrant and a great place to live when people look into the, let me open it. Yeah, space, they see different materials, different colors, and help them.
And what about accessibility? Can you speak to that?
Of course, first of all, all sidewalk follow accessibility requirements of width. It's 5 feet and 3 inches. 10% of our units, we plan to make the doors 3 feet for the entrance door, access to the washroom doors at the main floor, one of the bedroom with 3 feet doors, and also one of the bathroom with 3 feet doors that help making the having 85 millimeter, 850 millimeters clear width for people with mobility issue. And these units are located within cluster units, main floor, which help them to just has less stair to go up and down.
In the comments from the planning, I see that no amenity space was added here. Can you speak to that? Why there's no amenity space in the building?
Yeah, you know that we have housing crisis in Winnipeg, and one of the main target of this project was responding to this issue by providing as many as units that we can, and make the units area optimum for the 2-floor bedrooms, so that it helped us to have 298 units. But we didn't have a space for amenities. So the target was having housing, so it's as much as possible.
There is a playground that will be creating in the area. with other developers. It's not too far from here, Hamilton and Port area.
And can support the project, yeah, right. There are many areas within the neighborhood that they can use as playground or family gathering spaces.
And there is a school with a playground and another playground that's under construction right now, not too far from here.
Awesome, good to
Can
know.
you point out any seating or benches you have around this property? Where
Yeah.
they are?
Yeah, we have benches here. We located open spaces here, benches and trees at this part of the site. And we
And
have
that's
told,
facing pipeline, correct?
right,
So a few benches and trees.
benches, lighting even for the nighttime, trees, good view and quite a space for people to relax and enjoy outdoor space here.
Because the community is enjoying the outdoor spaces. I think the developer knows that also, and so
Yeah.
the benches are
Yeah,
important.
important to have it, right?
So that's in that area there, anywhere else?
We only had this location for benches.
And that would be the last set of buildings.
Yes,
Okay, any other opportunity to put benches elsewhere?
I believe that these were the only open spaces we had in our site to just allocate to benches.
Now, the construction timeline, so be a phased project, there's
Um,
4 buildings, then another 4, and then another 4, and the last building's coming online.
yeah, the contractor has been assigned for site work. Next week they'll start their work. If we can, all 4 main first phase buildings be occupied. So we plan to have other 8 at the same time. It's all about the occupancy schedule for buildings. So yeah, we can do it within 2 phases or 3 phases. It depends on,
And which ones are coming online first? The
um,
ones on the east side?
yes, and building 100, 200, 1100 and 1200.
Do you want to point to them? So the.
Yeah. Building 100, 200, 1200 and 1100.
So the blue ones will be first.
2 blue ones and 2 yellow
Yeah,
ones.
on this side, yeah. Okay. And so no seating around those areas though.
Not yet. We don't have open spaces for that, but because all the unit has their own balconies and also we have planting here around window wells. It's possible for them to have benches between.
That last yellow building on the left side, what is on the right side, the green area, what is that?
It's open space.
That's open space?
Yeah.
So you don't have any benches there?
No, we don't have, but
So is that
There's
green, what are
opportunity.
you putting there, grass?
we have 3 and also grass. But I believe that there is opportunity for us also have 2 benches here.
So the benches are, show me on the screen where the benches
The
are.
main benches, which we discussed, are here, but there are some open spaces here as well. Can go to. We have 2 benches here,
2 benches.
you're right.
Yeah.
But we have open spaces here as well, so.
Because the community does enjoy gathering in the evenings, afternoons, and so you might want to look at that and where possibly you have an opportunity to put more benches, because I bet you're going to get those requests.
Okay, we will look into that and I believe that we have a space here to add some benches.
Thank you. Councilor Edy, Councilor Santos, any further questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your
A
time.
lot of energy into that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next delegation.
So our next delegation is Al Weed, to be heard with respect to Land Dedication Reserve Fund Main Street Project, which is report number 4.
Yeah, I just first of all, I want to thank you for making the exemption and allowing me to speak on Hope Valley, which for me is very, very personal. We started this journey 5 years ago. Took 2.5 years to get Henry Avenue changed to Hope Valley, and another 2.5 years to get to here. And talking about the murals and beautification, it means a lot. Number 4 months ago, I received the King's Coronation Medal for dedication to community and contribution to community and country. Why I am saying this is because I was one of those in Hope Valley. I spent 29 months on the street, and the word hope got me through. And today I'm really, really fortunate to be here today. It was so important for me to put the word to change Henry Avenue to Hope Valley for that very reason, to give people hope and have that in their consciousness every single day. We've done small things. We put in a tree, we put in benches, and a plaque, and then a few small things. But it's really important that we start building on that. And the murals will give folks more hope, more life. It's not just a picture, it's life. And it's also identity. Can you imagine, coming down Main Street from the north going south, and on the front corner of the building, the front northwest side, you're going to see a mural that stretches from above the brick right to the rooftop. And it's going to be amazing. And you're going to have what's going to be on that mural is themed and brought out by the folks in the area, which is so vital. They will take ownership of that. And I think it's really important that it will also give Hope Valley identity, right? And it'll give folks something to hang on to in the area. Hope Valley is not just a Winnipeg thing. I was on a Zoom the other day and had some people from New York, and one guy says, "You're that Hope Valley guy from Winnipeg, right?" Same thing has happened over and over the years, like from Montreal to Toronto. People know Hope Valley. But the most important, it's good to move forward and beautify it and raise it up. But it's most important for the folks in the area. Starting with the front mural facing North Main. Everybody's going to know at that point in time it's Hope Valley, right? Right now it's just a sign and a few little items. But let's make it an exciting, vibrant area. And and our plans are to put a big mural in the center of it so the folks can really have something bright and lively and just give them something positive, because life on the street is every day not a good thing. So yeah, it's an emotional appeal. It's not a numbers appeal. But we do have additional gap funding for the murals as well, so we can move forward on that.
Thank you, Al. Thank you for coming to share your personal story.
Thanks, thank you.
For speaking to the project here before us. Councillor Santos, do you have any questions?
Yeah, sure. Thanks again, Al, for coming out. Really appreciate all the advocacy that you do within the community, even though some of it can be challenging and differing with other people's. It's still good. So with respect to Hope Valley, similar questions to Trish. Could you explain a little bit of that community consultation? I know that was very important. Yeah, talk about
absolutely. It's absolutely, and we would not dare move forward on anything without community consultation. They live there. It's an alleyway, it's a passageway, but it's also a place to have community. And you can drive by any time of day and see 10, 20 people in the area. And I think they need to be the ones that dictate to us what needs to be on those murals. Yeah, it's so vital and we cannot do anything without doing that first. And it's really, really important. But I also wanted to say, I neglected to say, I just want to thank you and Chaz for guiding me personally through this and being my guiding light through this whole process all these years. I tend to get off on things because it's really personal for me and you kind of dropped me back in. So thank you. But no, we cannot do anything without consultation with people in the area. And I think we may need another one before we even get going. But yeah. That's what's most important here. It's that, and they will take ownership of it.
Good, that's excellent. And just a final comment. Are you aware? We have to kind of ask it like as a question, but it's also a comment that with respect to funding, it's coming from the Land Dedication Reserve, which is unfortunately this project doesn't meet criteria. However, we are required to move it to council because council is ultimately supreme. My commitment to you, Al, is to continue to push it forward and get all of council's support by the end of this month so that the funds, the land dedication funds from Point Douglas Ward will be used for this project. Are you aware of that?
We would not be here without you today, that's for darn sure. Thank you.
No further questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Santos. I will get to the item shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. That concludes delegations.
We do have one more.
Okay, let's hear it.
If, sorry.
Urgent.
Would you like to speak or are you just here for?
I'm just here for
Support.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes Councillor Eady, the
Yep.
delegations. We can, it's 10:30.
So
We
exactly
could
10:30
take
right now.
recess and get into the hearings, or we can go through some of these items.
Well, why don't
You're
we
just wondering.
go
if we-
through the items? I think it'll go pretty fast.
Sure, let's go through a few of the items. We do have some folks in the gallery.
Yeah.
Okay, so report one is a semi-annual summary of delegated authority to award per capita land dedication and community incentive grants. Someone like to move that motion?
So move to receive as information. That's all the things we committed to help the community, right? So,
All in favor?
aye.
Contrary, carried. Item two, community incentive grant, Winnipeg Chinese Cultural and Community Center Corporation. Councillor Santos.
Yeah, I'd like to move the CIGP for the Community Cultural Center, as the presenter had noted that it was previously approved several years ago. It was just a matter of lack of communication issues, and the money was actually put back into the CIGP, I believe, 2 years ago. And I'm happy to move this forward and approve the funding, the $30,000 for them for, their I don't even know how to say it, for calculation reimbursement purposes.
I think this goes on to your standing committee and then on to council, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. I'm gonna leave item 3 for a moment because I have some questions. I want to get into it later. Item 4, land dedication reserve fund, Main Street project, Hope Valley beautification project. Councillor Santos.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to move the land dedication reserve fund of $30,000 towards Main Street project for the Hope Valley beautification project. I have already made it noted in my comments, even though LDR does not meet criteria for a mural, I'm still committed to push this through all the way to council and get this approved. So I hope council colleagues will support me in that.
So, Councillor, would you like to move $60,000 for the recommendation or $30,000? Just
Oh, my apologies. What was it? 60 on the application? Yeah, 60.
So just for clarification, the mural's gonna go on a privately owned building, is that right? That's the
Yes.
criteria it doesn't make, right?
Yes, yeah.
The alley itself is on land, right? So
Yes, the public lane. Yeah, it's going on the wall of the WRHA, I believe it's WRHA building. And we have their support as well.
Thank you. So Councillor Santos moves that. All in favor?
aye.
Contrary, carried. It's just about 10:40. I'm wondering if we deal with the Court Avenue.
Yeah, I do need to take a break unless you want to do the plan approvals.
Carried.
Yeah.
I I'd like to move to that one because we do really focus on the gallery, extension. Says an extension of time, subdivision and rezoning.
You do have the extension of time, but for item number 5 and item number 6 about the extension of time.
It's a Court Avenue plan approval for the different approaches.
Item number 8.
Yeah, we can do the rest after.
Yes, item 8, for approval, 1160 Court Avenue. We'll hear a summary from our clerk.
Okay, thank you. From administration.
The site is at the southeast corner of Court and Pipeline. The site is designated medium density residential under the precinct E precinct plan. The applicant is proposing to construct 12 stacked townhouse style buildings with a total of 298 units. Pardon me. 4 of the buildings are just under 35 feet high with, 3 stories with 122 total units. And 8 of the buildings are 36 feet in height with 178 units. Each unit would have a private entrance with all entrance located on elevations facing north, Court Avenue, or south to the interior internal parking area. Each building has a covered front porch with stairs and a pathway connecting to the future public sidewalk along Court Avenue. And each dwelling would have, each unit would have a porch or a balcony. The proposed buildings would be finished in hardy lap siding in a mix of colors, and vehicle access to the site would be via 2 approaches on Court Avenue. The applicant is proposing 394 outdoor parking spaces, including 6 van accessible spaces, 6 accessible spaces, 3 van accessible stalls, 40 visitor parking spaces, and 80 small car stalls, which is well within the permitted number under the zoning bylaw. In addition, the applicant is proposing 44 outdoor bicycle parking spaces. Accessible pet connections and crossings have been provided throughout the site. And the plans slightly exceed the street edge landscaping requirements with 52 trees and 232 shrubs, as well as 380 shrubs for building foundation landscaping. There are additional shrubs for parking lot interior landscaping and a variety of 7 types of trees and 8 types of shrubs. There's a 4-foot high ornamental fence proposed along the north and west street facing property lines, and a 6-foot high wood fence provided for buffering along the south and east property lines. Overall, the plans optimize what was presented under the previous DASZ application. The plans provide high quality facades and are consistent with the policies for development in this area.
Thank you. And what type of ornamental fence is that being?
It's a metal fence, yeah.
Any questions, Councillor Eden?
No, just a little more clarification about where the open space, they're gonna plant trees and stuff. Is that on the east side of the lot or?
There are on the west side, yes. So there's a little bit of green space along, mostly along Pipeline Road with a small area at the corner of Court and Pipeline. There are additional trees as the applicant noted along the rear property line on the south side. So where there are small car stalls, there's a bank of trees in front of each of those sets of small car stalls.
Any opportunity to add those additional benches?
There
We can speak with offline as well
Sure thing.
later.
Yeah, there's a little bit of space. There are some sodded areas along Pipeline where at least a couple more benches could be accommodated in 2 specific spots.
I'll give a good sight line to with that green space along. Okay, that's good. I like it.
I really appreciate the collaboration with the neighboring property residents. Councillor Reedy, we heard delegation from Yasmin about that. Those folks had come to the initial rezoning, so it's nice that there was some collaboration around the plan approval and the design. It's a very aesthetically pleasing design, and the materials that are chosen look great. So I'm quite happy with that. We always have to be cognizant about parking. There isn't a lot of on-street parking in this area. And so they do have bike racks and promoting transit that we brought to the area. So that'll be a good thing. So I'm recommending approval as submitted here.
Excellent. So would you like me to move that on your behalf?
This has been pretty much needed comes into the area. You all know that we're growing across the city and Northwest Winnipeg is no different. And there's a school in the area. There's a lot of commercial shopping in the area. The hospital, the wellness center nearby. So it's a very sought after place to be in the city here.
By the wellness center and all, yeah, it's great.
So I would like to work offline though with some additional benches with the developer. And do really appreciate that collaboration they had with residents of Aspen Meadows. In fact, I got an email today from a resident wanting me to pass on their appreciation for the initial meeting we had in May and then recent conversations again to show their final plans. So if you could move approval on my behalf.
I'll move the plan approval for Court and Pipeline. Southeast Court.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? That's carried. And now we'll take a recess. It's 10:42 and we'll reconvene at 11 o'clock.
It'll be better.
Good morning. I'd like to bring to order the Lord Selkirk West Kildonan Community Committee, the public hearing portion. It's September 3rd, 2025. We just took a short recess and I have with me Councillor Eady, Councillor Santos. We have a number of public hearing items, but I would like to take a short recess, Madam Clerk, and we'll come back and then get into the agenda. So we'll take a approximately 15-minute recess. Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to reconvene our Lord Selkirk West Kildonan Community Committee meeting, September 3rd, 2025. We're on the public hearing portion. Madam Clerk.
In accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter and the Development Procedures Bylaw, the process the committee will follow is the applicant will be heard first, followed by those in support of the application. Next, those registered in opposition are heard, followed by those registered for information. Finally, the applicant may return to speak in rebuttal to comments made. However, no new information is permitted. Please note that when your name is called, it is your opportunity to speak. However, you're not obligated to do so. For a more in-depth overview of the public hearing process and other information pertaining to what happens before, during, and after a public hearing, please consult with the City Clerk's Department website. Please note that all public hearings are recorded and will be part of the public record. Should you have any questions after the hearings have concluded, please contact the City Clerk's Department. Item number 1 is a subdivision and rezoning at 2459 King Edward Street under file DASZ 13 of 2025.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll get to the hearing items momentarily. We'd like to go back to the regular agenda and finish item. It was item 5 and 6. Because we have some registration on the line. Item 5 is an extension of time for 2091 Brookside Boulevard. Welcome, Angie. It's just Councillor Eady and I here in the meeting.
Good morning, councillors and colleagues. Apologies for not being there in person. I have a bit of a cold and want to keep my germs to myself. This extension of time, the developer McGowan Russell Group applied for and is requesting 1-year extension to September 22nd of 2026 to finalize the servicing agreement and register the plan. The development creates 2 lots that are already zoned M1 under the airport vicinity PDO. Lot 1 will establish a new auto repair and sales establishment, and Lot 2 is going to maintain the existing storage and parking uses. So the original deadline was to expire this September, and while the agreements with the city have been signed, there could be potential registration delays and they won't be able to register on time within this timeline. So the public service has reviewed and supports this request.
Thank you, Angie. I'm just wondering in the future, Angie, if these types of requests could even be brought forward 1 meeting before now. So we actually have time to review and can ask questions, because right now we're under the gun because it is expiring this month, correct?
Yes, and we do request, we send out 2 separate notifications, and our legal services team also advises applicants 3 months prior to the expiry. Unfortunately, we can't control when they submit their actual request and pay for the application for the extension. They know that it has to be submitted prior to expiry. So because we receive this in time, that's why we're coming forward with this now. But yes, unfortunately, we can't control when the applicant actually submits those applications as much as we try to prompt them.
It's a 1-year extension, correct? That's requested?
Correct. Yeah.
And then in that case, then maybe a heads up from the administration would be helpful. Just an email to the area counselor. I would appreciate that anyways. If you
Sure.
could have it on and maybe note it for yourself. I know everyone's busy. There's a lot on our plates. But it'd be good to have that detail ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely. If we're able to, sometimes, like myself, I wouldn't know until all of a sudden it shows up on my desk. We have had applications that do expire. There's so many of them, so it happens at times. Not often, but it does.
Report was dated mid-August. So even at that time, getting a little bit of a heads up would be appreciated.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you, Counselor.
The recommendation of the public service to extend 1 year on this particular subdivision. I guess it goes on to property and development for them.
That's correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried. Next item, item 6, extension of time, 12:45, 12:55 Port Avenue. Angie, over to you.
This one is applied for by Landmark Planning, the developer. They are requesting as well a 1-year extension to September 26th of 2026 to complete the registrations. This development will consolidate and rezone lands to an RMU, residential mixed use, for a proposed mixed use commercial and residential development. The bylaw 20 of 24 has not come under force yet because the servicing and zoning agreements haven't been finalized with the applicant nor securing of their necessary easements. So they are certain that they'll be able to get that done within the year. So the Winnipeg Public Service also supports this request.
Counselor Lee, will you move?
Just for clarification, so this is west of Pipeline on Court?
Yeah, this is across the street from the one we just approved earlier.
Oh, it's not, okay.
Yes.
Oh, right, okay, all right. I'll move the recommendation of the public service to provide the extension.
Favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried. Thank you, Angie, for being with us today and for your patience.
Thank you.
Waiting all day. Thank you. Madam Clerk, back to the public hearing items.
Just to refresh, item number 1 is a subdivision and rezoning at 2459 King Edward Street under file DAS 13 of 2025. All participants in the Zoom meeting have been muted and will only be permitted to speak when called upon. Speakers will have 5 minutes for their presentations. So if the committee would like a brief overview from the planner.
Thank you. This is in the Point Douglas ward. Thank you, Suarez.
The site is on the north side of Inkster Boulevard at the northeast corner of the intersection with King Edward Street. The subject sites include 2549 King Edward, which is currently zoned rural residential 5, and a vacant city-owned lot on the north side of the site zoned residential single-family medium. The applicant is proposing to consolidate the 11 underlying parcels at 2549 King Edward together with the city-owned parcel on the north side of the property and to rezone the full site C1, which is commercial neighborhood. This is to facilitate the development of a commercial building. The plans show a 2-story commercial building with 7 units intended for retail and office uses. The building is oriented lengthwise along Inkster Boulevard, tapering toward the west end to follow the curve of the road near the intersection. There's a minimum setback of 8.5 feet. The accessory parking area would be at the rear of the building with access from an approach on King Edward Street. There are a total of 20 parking spaces provided, including 2 accessible stalls. Landscape details include 11 trees and 58 shrubs, which slightly exceeds the zoning bylaw requirements. And the applicant has provided a sodded area at the rear of the parking area, 8 feet, between 8 and 10 feet in depth. 8 to 10 feet in depth. So
That backs onto those.
that backs onto the side yard of a house. Yeah. The waste would be accommodated with in-ground waste bins located near the north property line, outside of that setback. In addition, the proposed subdivision or rezoning requires an alternative equivalent compliance, and it's an administrative application. So that's been submitted to address the requirement for an enclosure for in-ground waste bins. Typically, we require a garbage enclosure, but for in-ground waste bins, we accept the proposal without for removal and because they're not so obvious. So we've recommended, the Public Services recommended that final plans be submitted to PP&D as well as to the LSWK committee for review prior to issuance of building permits. In addition, we've recommended a 6-foot tall privacy fence be constructed along the north and west property lines, as well as a minimum 8-foot landscape buffer along the north property line to mitigate the impact of the commercial parking area on the existing dwelling there. And in terms of key supporting reasons, the site is located at the corner of an arterial route and a collector route. The proposed C1 zoning would introduce low impact commercial uses. That's consistent with the communities and objectives in complete communities. And it would support a mix of commercial services and employment uses for local community. The proposed site plan and building are scaled and designed to complement the character and build form of the surrounding neighborhood without adding too much commercial intensity in that location. And with that, I welcome any questions.
That's pretty clear. Okay.
Thank you. What changes did the applicant make as a result of collaboration with the city?
This one has been ongoing for some time. So it
Prior
did,
to
it was
you taking over?
That's correct, yeah. So before and after. Some of it was, I think the setback was introduced. The orientation and siting of the building was changed. The parking area was tweaked a little bit. And the fencing I've added, I believe. There may be more.
And there's a plan for both policies?
That's correct.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
So up first, we have the applicant, who is Shaminder Sandhu. If you'd like to speak to the item, Shaminder, you may seat yourself at the end of the table. You have 5 minutes to begin your presentation.
Hello, good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. I think she explained everything. And we got no concern from the Heritage Source Act, and we got no concern from a school division. And whatever the city concern, we already cleared those as per landscaping and everything. And we didn't do any, I think, for any variance clear or anything.
What we've put together here is a reasonable commercial building with to meet zoning requirements and planning requirements. Managed to put together a package that hopefully suits the land and doesn't require any variances.
Any presentation or anything, or just verbal presentation today?
Verbal presentation of what we have and what we've submitted for planning consideration.
So rezoning, no variances, right? We're rezoning to C1 commercial neighborhood.
That's correct.
And is it the intention to make a plaza that's 2 stories? What is your vision for the space here?
It is a 2-story space to do provide business and personal services spaces to this area.
And the uses you're familiar with, what's permitted here? Office, medical?
Office, medical, what is more important, what we do not include, we don't include anything that is assembly occupancy, and the building can't handle daycares. So we're into light mercantile or offices. And yes, it could be a salon, it could be a doctor's office. It's, quite a number of small office spaces that seem to be necessary in some of the areas.
Did you have any consultation with the neighborhood at all at any point?
The neighbors have reached out and only asked for clarification on the use of the building.
And any consultation with the area counselor prior to applying for the hearing?
No. Yeah, talk to the counselor on this. No, the consultation.
Counselor Reedy?
So the home with the side yard where the parking lot is, were you able to speak to them?
I haven't, but I got a call from somebody, I don't know, maybe maybe that's the guy. He said, are you guys doing a 7-Eleven or something? I said, no, there is just offices, that's all.
What's the square footage of the building's footprint?
Building's footprint is in at 5983 square feet.
How much?
5983, just under 6,000 square feet.
So around, yeah, okay, so 6,000, okay, so that's that's a pretty modest building.
Yep.
Okay.
Not a huge site, but made use of it.
Yeah. So this discussion, so you're coming off Inkster and it is rounder, right? Are you having to put in sidewalks along
Sidewalks
Inkster?
are already present and the approach is present. What you have sitting on there right now is a very small church and parking lot.
Oh, great, okay, oh, I know where, okay.
So we're using the approach the church used.
Right. Okay. So there's already a sidewalk on Inkster there?
Yes.
That is. Okay. So long it's been since I walked. Okay. I don't really have any more questions. I don't know about Councillor Sharma. When so you're expecting to get into the ground next year?
Yes, like, as soon as we get approval, we can start like right away.
You heard about the needing extensions of time to get all the title stuff and registrations done, eh? So this in-ground garbage, have you researched that in detail? Because I know of a project where they planned on doing it, but the property just was unable to accommodate in-ground garbage.
We've used this system on several buildings now.
Well, yeah, okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're familiar with it. We've got a building that's houses two of these, going up on Harriet. It's behind where the part source is.
Okay, so you have expertise. The other people I don't think had too much experience. Okay, good.
No, they're kind of a welcome change to manage garbage.
You can only replace those around my board. Anyway.
Yeah.
Madam Chairperson.
Yes, so the report in front of you and you're in agreement? Have you reviewed it?
The report you guys send us?
It's on the agenda today. There's a report.
I have not had a chance to review the report, but I'll go along with it.
What is your timeline for construction?
Looking to complete construction documents and submit this for permit within 90 days.
Because we're voting on a report that's in front of us and there's certain conditions there, et cetera. So you haven't had a chance to review that yet?
I haven't get a chance.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
It's also a good idea to reach out to the area councillor before you apply for things like this. And also in this case, that's Councillor Santos, but myself as well, because our wards are very close to the area,
Oh, yeah.
right? Have you done other projects in the city before?
Yes, I did, but I didn't thought like this is gonna be this big, but it's the same process for small or big, so I realize now. Yeah.
Okay.
I can talk to us.
While you're sitting in the gallery, you might want to look at your report. There's also a condition to come back to this committee for plan approval. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You just want your, maybe we put Madam Planner, if you could kind of weigh in on that and make sure and articulate plan approval and what that is.
Certainly, plan approval will include not only the building cladding, but the site treatment, the parking areas, the garbage enclosure, the landscaping. Sometimes we address access, et cetera, too. So, and it'll capture the two conditions that are following plan approval in the report about the 6 foot tall privacy fence, and the landscape buffer will also need to be captured in that application.
Right, we provided landscape details and,
Everything is on
and landscaping, planting list.
But that's gonna be approved at a later time.
Sure.
That's not in front of us today, the details. So you'll be coming back to this committee.
Okay.
For that approval. So you won't be in the ground until you get that approval. That's correct?
You have to show us the elevations, all that kind of stuff.
Elevations were part of our submission. We've got elevations and we have a perspective of, the building in our application. We've outlined materials, we just.
But
have
that
to
approval
acknowledge-
isn't gonna be given today. There's a
Right.
clause, plan approval clause. So if that passes, you'll be coming back to this committee to share those plans, the details.
Okay.
And it's no longer a hearing then. Definitely you have an opportunity to speak to your local counselors in the area. If you need any clarification on that, you can speak to our planner and Kevin here from our.
Probably gonna reach out.
Your construction timeline is a little bit further out probably from what you're thinking.
Very aggressive.
Madam Chair.
Yes. Councilor Eby?
I think we're done, right?
Okay.
They can,
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, nothing further.
you can, you can, I don't know how many other people are here.
Madam Clerk, next, no one else?
We have no one else, but if I could just ask the reading. If there's anybody else who has not registered to speak and wishes to do so, in opposition, in support, or for information on the matter? If there's no one. Somebody else.
Thank you. There's no one else? It's Councilor Eby, I'm looking at the time here. It's 12 noon. We do have a number of items yet.
Yeah, I mean,
So, and
you want me to move
the
on?
recess will give an opportunity for the applicant to actually look at the report
Yeah, let's give.
and read it, right? Yeah.
We're suggesting you review it, just make sure you know what you're saying you agree with. Okay?
We have, Madam Clerk, following this, we have, 4 other items? Or 5? We have several.
Or there's a couple combined.
So is it the will of the committee to take a recess now? And for how long, Councilor Eby?
Well. No, hold on. So it's 12 noon right now,
Yes,
about 12:45.
between 12:45 and 1 o'clock, we will reconvene. Thank you. We'll take a short recess. And we'll reconvene about 12:45 to 1 o'clock. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to reconvene our September 3rd Board Selkirk West Kildonan Community Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, we're on item 1. Go ahead.
So item 1 is a subdivision of rezoning at 2459 King Edward Street under File DAS 13 of 2025.
I think we're at the point of hearing back from the applicant, were we?
We have
Or we
for the
could-
public service, yeah, first.
Yeah.
Do that first. Any questions for the public service?
Well, just for clarification, they've had time to go over the report, but just for clarification, what kind of financial obligations do they have under this?
The ECG report?
So consistent with development agreement parameters, this, the obligation would be to pay their share of the fronting roads. And then disconnect, there's an existing catch basin that Public Works installed in the property when they urbanized Inkster Boulevard that needs to be disconnected and abandoned. And sidewalk paid for, which is existing,
There's still a sidewalk.
85% sure.
Where's the sidewalk, sorry?
There's a sidewalk on 3 sides of the property, So one on a public walk between Inkster and Forest Cove Drive, as well as a sidewalk along Inkster and a sidewalk along King Edward Street.
Is the permitted uses once again on this site?
Permitted uses, it's a range of retail and office uses, but C1 does restrict the size of a number of commercial uses. For example, medical clinics are restricted to 1,500 square feet. Restaurant sizes are restricted as well.
And they've only got 6,000 square feet.
Okay, very good. Madam Clerk?
So we can have the applicant return to speak in rebuttal to any comments made if you'd like. However, no new information is permitted.
You're welcome back. You have an opportunity to review the report.
Yes, thank you.
Recess. Very good. And you had an opportunity to perhaps ask questions of the public service if they're around.
Yeah,
That's right.
yes.
We got the clarification on points made in the
Whatever
report,
those conditions are.
what the conditions actually boil down to, and
Excellent.
in agreement with that.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Nothing further at this time.
Nothing further, but
When it's your construction time.
we want to start like right away, but it's I think is gonna take time. It's gonna be another hearing for the landscaping, I think.
For the building, the way it's gonna look, the placement of the building and the landscaping and the fencing, yes. Plan
Okay.
approval.
All right. All right, and we find out how much it's gonna cost us. So like you guys can leave the condition on, give us approval, then we will find out how much is our share. Right, so we will make that happen.
Excellent. Any further questions? None on our side. If you could just stand down and we'll go through the item now. Thank you. Further questions, comments? Any further questions of the public service, or is the feed on the committee at this time?
Like me to make motion.
Sure.
Okay. I move that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
Favor,
I
contrary, carried.
move that the receipt of public representations be concluded.
All in favor,
I
contrary, carried.
move that the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be concurred in and forwarded to the Standing Policy Committee on Property and Development. Executive Policy Committee, this will go to Executive Policy.
That's
Committee. Yeah, sorry, Executive Policy Committee.
All in
My
favor,
support and reasons, I think that, with all the development that has been happening around King Edward and Inkster, I think this is a good thing for this northeast corner to be developed. What they're proposing to do as commercial operations are, I'll use the word mild, won't have a huge impact on bringing too much traffic to the area in terms of visiting the various establishments that would be leasing space from this building. And it's a consolidation of a bunch of lots to ensure that they have the space to accomplish what's needed.
Thank you, Councillor. I agree. It's a great location for this low intensity commercial building. And we heard about the uses that are allowed. So we're going to see things like small restaurants, cafes and clinics. That's what's permitted. And I think it's going to coexist in a good way with the surrounding mature community that's already there. So with your remarks as well as mine, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
I move that the public hearing with respect to this application be concluded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
Please note that the committee has made a recommendation on this matter that will now proceed to council. No further representations are permitted, and all persons registered for the public hearing will receive notice when the matter is to be considered by council.
Thank you. Okay, next item, Madam Clerk.
Item number 2 is a rezoning at 174 Numeracy Lane under file DAZ 201 of 2025. Please note that communications were received in support of the matter, which have been distributed to all members of the committee. The process the committee will follow is the applicant will be heard first, followed by those in support of the application, those registered in opposition, and those registered for information. The applicant may return to speak in rebuttal to comments made. However, no new information is permitted. Speakers will be permitted 5 minutes for their presentations. All participants in the Zoom meeting have been muted and will only be permitted to speak when called upon. Hand it over to the planner this one.
Thank you. Thank you. Simi?
The applicant is proposing to rezone 174 Numeracy Lane from R1S residential single family small to R2, bringing the development rights to the subject site in line with the surrounding properties along Numeracy Lane. The intent is to pair the subject site with the neighboring lot at 178 Numeracy Lane to facilitate the future construction of a 2-family side-by-side dwelling with a shared party wall. Plans for development have not been submitted with the application. The zoning agreement for the prior DAZ 4 of 2023 included a condition requiring that the developer submit architectural design guidelines for all single and 2-family dwellings in the planned area. The architectural guidelines were approved by this committee in February of this year, providing a clear and concise tool to ensure high quality design in the development of single and 2-family dwellings in the Templeton South Landing neighborhood. So any future development proposal for the site would be required to align with those approved architectural guidelines. The report recommendation is approval. Oh, and I'd like to flag some minor amendments, please. And my apologies for the confusion. I lost my numbering somewhere along the way. So the proposed amendment is to correct a type error in the administrative report for conditions 2, 5, and 8, as well as at the top of Schedule B, where it says it would replace DAZ 210 of 2025 with DAZ 201 of 2025.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
So at this time, we'll call the applicant forward, Carolina Herrera from Landmark Planning and Design.
Hello, welcome.
Hello. You have 5 minutes to start your presentation when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Well, good afternoon. My name is Carolina Herrera. I'm a planner with Landmark Planning and Design, and I would like to thank the committee and the administration for the opportunity to present this afternoon about the rezoning application for 174 Numeracy Lane within the Templeton South Landing development. About the applicant team, Wyland Developers is the owner of the project and also a local developer and builder with an active presence in Winnipeg. And Landmark Planning and Design, we have been retained to lead the planning and development approvals process for this development. For site context, the subject site is highlighted here in red at the bottom of the screen. And the subject lot is approximately 3,250 square feet in area and is generally bounded by 2-family vacant lots to the north, east, and south, and a future multifamily development to the west. A bit of background that was also previously mentioned. In 2023, Council approved the rezoning and subdivision for Templeton South Landing, and the design guidelines were approved by the committee earlier this year. However, this application that we are discussing this afternoon relates specifically to a small adjustment within one of the blocks of this larger development. So the original application plan was prepared using cadastral mapping, and after receiving conditional approval, a detailed survey revealed a minor discrepancy in the site's dimensions. As a result,
Block 2 lost one lot from the original plan. So I'll just go back to show you this map. This is the original map that was submitted in 2023. And the block at the bottom, which at the time was referred to as Block 3, had 33 lots with 32 of them being two-family and one of them being single-family. However, after a detailed survey was conducted, you can see here, this is the new detailed survey map. And there are only 32 lots in the block now. So to address the situation, this application seeks to rezone Lot 1, which is the one highlighted in red, from residential single-family small to residential two-family. This adjustment will allow Lot 1 to be paired with Lot 2, which is the one highlighted in blue, to accommodate a two-family residence in a consistent side-by-side form. Here we can see on the image on the left is the existing single-family lot, and then in the image to the right, we can see the proposed two-family lot. So as you can see, this rezoning would bring the zoning of the two lots into alignment and ensure consistency within the development. In summary, we feel like this is an appropriate proposal for the subject site as it ensures consistency within Block 2 of the development. It aligns with policy direction from our Winnipeg Complete Communities and the precinct plan, and it represents an appropriate and compatible use for the subject site. And with this, I conclude my presentation, and I am happy to answer any questions the committee may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. This is one lot that's sort of left over and we need to make it consistent with the surrounding area. So thanks for the summary. It's pretty straightforward. Any questions? Thank you for your presentation. Madam Clerk?
So at this time, we don't have anyone else registered. But I'll just call and see if anyone else would like to be registered in support of this file. Oh, Brendan Saligo, yeah, come on up if you'd like to be registered in support.
Oh, I'll just register. No, nothing for this.
Okay, and anyone else in opposition to the? And anyone for information?
Thank you. Any questions or summary from planning on this one? It's pretty straightforward.
Right, no additional comments.
Okay, thank you. We may have to bring them back or ask them.
Sure, if you'd like to come back for any comments.
No further comments.
No further comments?
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Councilor Reedy, you're ready to move?
Want me to move? All right, let's find it here. Just take me 1 second. That one fast. Okay, I move that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
Favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
I move that the receipt of public representations be concluded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
I move that the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken and forwarded to the executive policy secretary.
So we'll just,
Right.
would you like me to go over the amendments, Counselor?
What's that? Oh, we have to, oh, there is an amendment. Oh,
Just minor amendments.
I
Yeah.
forgot. I
That's okay.
forgot that
Can you
you,
read them out?
yeah,
Read
yeah.
them out.
Instead of 210, it's 201.
Correct. So that the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be concurred in with the following amendments.
With the following amendments, which is to change the DAS from 210, 2020.
2025, so in recommendations,
201, 2025.
correct, 2, 5, and 8, we'll remove 210 of 2025 and replace it with DAZ 201 2025. And then in Schedule B, we'll also delete DAZ 210 of 2025 and replace it with 201 of 2025. And then it will be forwarded to the Standing Policy Committee on Property and Development.
Yeah, it's amended. Okay,
Thank you, Councilor. Supporting reasons.
well, supporting reasons, this pretty well finishes up Numeracy Lane, doesn't it?
Very straightforward, as we said.
Yeah, that's right.
And the one lot that was left over and probably missed, and so we are, just correcting that. Okay, all in favor? Contrary, carried.
I move that the public hearing with respect to this application be concluded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
Please note that the committee has made a recommendation on this matter that will now proceed to council. No further representations are permitted, and all persons registered for the public hearing will receive notice when the matter is to be considered by council.
Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item number 3 is a subdivision and rezoning at 2401 Inkster Boulevard under file DAS 2022 of 2025. In accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter and the Development Procedures Bylaw, this is a combined hearing and the following item will also be heard at the same time. Namely, item 4 is a variance at 2401 Inkster Boulevard under file DAB 148009 2025D. Please note, communications were received in support of the matter, which have been distributed to all members of the committee. The process the committee will follow is that the applicant will be heard first, followed by those in support of the application, those registered in opposition, and those registered for information. The applicant may return to speak in rebuttal to comments made. However, no new information is permitted. Speakers will be permitted 5 minutes for their presentations. All participants in the Zoom meeting have been muted and will only be permitted to speak when called upon. Turn it over to the planner at this time.
Thank you.
Just before the planner goes on, for some reason, I'm not allowed, it's not letting me access report 3. I can, well, I don't think you, just gonna tell you, I can't get the text, but click on 3 and see what happens. Gave you the message, it can't download.
Take a few minute recess just to address the technical difficulties. Thank you. Good afternoon. Just back at our Lord Selkirk West Kildonan Community Committee meeting at September 3rd, 2025. We're item 3, subdivision and rezoning of 2401 Inkster Boulevard. Councillor Reedy, if you don't mind taking the chair for this item, I'll pass it to you. And clerk will continue.
When it's time for motions, you can take.
Sure. Okay.
Or I can take the chair, sorry.
Julie, the description.
Yes.
Item 3 is a subdivision and rezoning at 2401 Inkster Boulevard under file DAS 22 of 2025. In accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter and the Development Procedures Bylaw, this is a combined hearing, and the following item will also be heard at the same time. Namely, item 4 is a variance at 2401 Inkster Boulevard under file DAV 148009 2025D. Please note, communications were received in support of the matter, which have been distributed to all members of the committee. The process the committee will follow is the applicant will be heard first, followed by those in support of the application, those registered in opposition, and those registered for information. The applicant may return to speak in rebuttal to comments made. However, no new information is permitted. Speakers will be permitted 5 minutes for their presentations. All participants in the Zoom meeting have been muted and will only be permitted to speak when called upon.
Thank you. The site is located on the north side of Inkster Boulevard between Cleveland Street and Mobile Street. Mobile is Burroughs Avenue on the south side of Inkster Boulevard. And the property is accessed by an approach on Cleveland Street, which is a gravel or Ship's Hill Road. The applicant proposes to consolidate 7 underlying parcels and to rezone the site 2401 Inkster Boulevard from an A agricultural district to M2 manufacturing light district to establish a vehicle repair and service use for auto, light truck, and motorcycles, as well as a heavy equipment sales, service, and rental use. There's an existing dwelling on the site which would be used for offices with no new construction intended at this time. The site plan shows 2 parking spaces where a garage is currently located. The rest of the site is shown as having a gravel surface. Site access, I mentioned that already. The plans include as well a 4-foot tall ornamental fence along the Inkster Boulevard street edge with a 16-foot return along the east and west property lines. A 6.5-foot high chain link fence is indicated along the west, north, and east property lines with a chain link gate at the Cleveland Street approach. Detailed drawings haven't been provided at this point. The subdivision and rezoning report recommendation is approval with some key conditions of approval. We've recommended a zoning agreement aimed at ensuring that future development of the subject lands is compatible with the surrounding area and doesn't create substantial adverse effect. So we've recommended use restrictions, bringing the permitted and conditional uses in line with M1 uses. Pardon me, earlier I said manufacturing light, but it's manufacturing general. Sorry for the confusion. So this would bring the permitted M2 uses in line with M1 manufacturing light uses. with the option to revise permitted uses and conditional uses via a zoning agreement amendment as the surrounding area evolves and develops. A condition of approval has also been added requiring plan approval to the Lord Selkirk West Kildonan Community Committee. In addition, we have recommended a condition requiring paving of the site. That parking areas, vehicle display areas, and outside sales areas must be paved. We've had some discussion with the applicant, suggesting that perhaps the front portion of the site could be paved, but after or north of the Cleveland Street approach, that the site could be gravel. And the Public Service recommends striking this condition because amending our recommendation to strike that condition, because this can be addressed via a variance if necessary and through plan approval rather than through a zoning agreement. In addition, a servicing agreement is required, which includes the widening of Inkster Boulevard and upgrading of Cleveland Street. There is a related amendment there as well to Schedule B, adding to Section 4 servicing conditions, Condition 5, Subclause C, or adding a Subclause C saying this would be 5C. In the event that the Cleveland Street right-of-way along the entire length of the subject property is closed, then the above conditions in Condition 5 will be deemed to be satisfied. There's an associated variance application that we've recommended approval in part for. So the Public Service, there's four variances requested. A front yard of 17 feet instead of 25 feet to the existing building, insufficient street edge landscaping, insufficient building foundation landscaping, and no pedestrian connections. We've recommended approval of the front yard reduction because it's the existing site condition. We do recommend that this variance expire upon demolition of the existing building and be reassessed for future development. We've recommended rejection of the insufficient landscaping. We're not supportive of providing this because the surrounding area is increasingly developing, and this DSZ further urbanizes the immediate site context. And there would be, through the ACG report, through Schedule B, Cleveland Street improvements, Inkster Boulevard improvements, and a sidewalk required along Inkster Boulevard. So the site is currently in a pocket that has a rural sort of feel. However, the site should be developed to reflect its current and developing context, providing those edge and site improvements. With regard to no pedestrian connections, the letter of intent provided states that there is no public sidewalk to connect with on the north side of Inkster Boulevard, nor on Cleveland Street. As mentioned, we are requiring the construction of a 1.5 meters sidewalk on the north side of Inkster Boulevard. Considering that and the city's accessibility design standards and pedestrian connections requirements in the zoning bylaw, we recommend that this variance not be supported as well. And with that, is there any questions?
Thank you for the summary. This is a bit of a complicated file. I know this is working for quite some time. Consultants been diligent and getting involved on their side, but a complicated one. Any specific questions, Councilor Reedy? I have followed this.
What's the size of this lot?
For a while.
What's the size of the lot along Inkster and on Cleveland?
The frontage?
Yeah, what's the frontage?
Double check. Frontage along. Well, this one is not dimensioned. Oh, it is. 109 feet along Inkster.
Yep.
Approximately, and along Cleveland, it is approximately 158 feet.
Yep. And it's a rectangle.
That's correct. So
Okay.
it's deeper, going north south.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, the applicant.
So we'll call the applicant clerk, John Winthrop. Right. Be registering to speak as well? Yeah. He is also a Okay.
me a second here to set up my presentation, though I hope not to really do it. I think it's taking me longer to just set up the presentation than what I intend to speak to today, just to let you know. Yeah, there we go. My name's John Winchup. I'm sitting here next to my client, the owner of the property at 2401 Inkster. We've been in this process for quite some time. I've been personally involved in this land going back over 20 years, trying to close Cleveland Street. I first approached the city probably the second time to try to close it was in April 2016. You've got a letter submitted by the landowners to the north. I have them on side to get them to close Cleveland Street. Previous issues before, recognizing going back to the early 2000s, was that we needed all the landowners to kind of agree to close Cleveland Street if that was going to happen. 2016, that was the same message I got from the city of Winnipeg. They're going to be advancing, I think, after this public hearing, a road closing application to close Cleveland Street. It's an unimproved right of way. Right now, it's a small access point onto Inkster. Serving these properties. We've been at a public hearing before talking about how we want to have auto and heavy equipment sales and service. We've gone through the whole entire process with, yeah. No, I want to do this quick. I think it's, we thank the public service for dialoguing with us. We agree with everything in their report, all their amendments, everything going on there. We just want to get going and move forward. We have our development permit in there. I'll explain to my client later on what's the next steps after this. But we're looking to move forward with, advancing this application and having something happen on these lands. It's the size of about an NHL ice sheet, Councillor Edie. If, that's about 17,000 square feet. That's about it. We've dealt with water and waste in terms of a catch basin that was put on the property back in the day. We're going to be doing an Inkster widening of 11 feet. We believe we'll be coming forward to the community with plan approval for landscaping, things like that. Once we get an understanding of when Cleveland Street closes and the obligations we have with sidewalks, we're going to be putting all that kind of nice stuff in at the front of the property. And I expect to be back here at this committee again, maybe early as springtime with a development permit and what the landscape and everything's going to look like on the property.
Great, thank you. And you did review the report as you indicated, and you're in support of all of the items as presented.
Yeah, in support, including the rejection of the certain variances that we applied for. We applied for them. We just don't know where certain items are going to go. Now we have a better clarity of that once we get this application going.
Great, thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, first I'd like to thank you. But it's been 2 years since we bought this land, and it's kind of obviously like I need to run the business too. And there was ideally a while ago, because from the guy who bought this property from, he did have a dealership running, but he had a 5-year condition before. So we're just hoping that we can get things going and moving forward faster, and then we can get our permits issued, and then hopefully we can start it.
Yes, I can see you're eager to get moving.
Yes, it's been a while.
Road to get here. There's processes and there's a bit of complexity around many things here. So it's good you've got a consultant that understands all of those moving pieces. Councillor Edie, your question?
Yeah, so there's one structure. Are you going to be building another structure like an equipment shed kind of thing?
Nothing at the moment that's planned. We're just turning that building that we have into an office, and then just cars parked onto the lawn.
So you're not erecting any new building at this time?
Oh,
Not.
No.
well, I'm just curious as to, so you're going to be working on heavy fixing heavy equipment in the open air?
Mostly right now we're doing cars, but if we are able to grow, then we'll be doing heavy trucks.
Not fixing, just
Not
selling.
fixing, just selling, no, yeah, no.
So heavy equipment sales and rental.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. And things like street edge landscaping, pedestrian connection, we talked about all that. Sidewalk connections, all of that would be addressed later on.
Yeah, we expect to come back with a plan approval, but once we get through this process, then we know the 11-foot widening is getting approved. I got that information from a Public Works some time ago, wanted to make sure it's confirmed at the public hearing. And then Cleveland Street, there was no sense of us landscaping towards Cleveland Street if that's gonna get closed in like a month or two. Hoping that still has to go through that process, we'll be out in support for that. Then, you know, once we move forward, then we'll put together the landscaping details of where the shrubbery and the trees and the sidewalks are gonna go. But this process here is gonna give us certainty that we have we can make productive use of the land and where we can put those elements for design into the plan.
And Joe, you understand the plan approval process?
100%, yeah.
Okay, nothing further at this time, Councilor Reedy? No? Okay, next speaker.
So we don't have anybody registered, so I just want to speak to the gallery. Does anybody want to register in support of the application? Seeing none. If anybody would like to register in opposition to the application? And anyone for information? Seeing none.
Anything you'd like to add or?
No comments.
You did indicate the amendments earlier. I think they were heard. Appreciate your work on this file as well. Councilor Reedy, anything for public service?
No, I listened to this one before.
Back to the applicant.
Yeah, we have nothing to add. We've read all the conditions, we agree. I think we're aligned with the public service on this. We just want to get it advanced and get going to whatever agreements we need post hearing. And I believe we're going to be back here in this fall, hopefully with the road closing in support of somebody else.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Just.
Yes.
I'd like to move that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
All those in favor?
I'd like to move that the receipt of public representations be concluded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So am I. Passes.
I'd like to move that the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be concurred in as amended. And we're going to go over those amendments. Madam Clerk, do you have?
So in recommendation 1AI, delete the period after Schedule B of this report and replace with the following. This is for the that you shared with me.
Sorry, no deletion.
It's an addition.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, in addition, add to section 4 servicing conditions, condition 5, a subclause C. Sorry. So 5C would be in the event that Cleveland Street right of way along the entire length of the subject property is closed, then the above conditions in condition 5 will be deemed to be satisfied. Okay. And then we also have a recommendation 2A2 will delete in its entirety.
That's clear.
Clear to me.
Okay. And supporting reasons we heard as per the planner's report, Councilor Reedy, the presentation from the planner. It is a complex file, and I do appreciate the consultant, the owners. There's a lot of back and forth with the public service. I know it took longer than they expected, but there's a lot of moving parts, and we'll be seeing them here again in the future for plan approval. So I think the file is well understood, as we heard in the presentation today. To move approval with the amendments as we heard.
Forwarded to the standing policy committee on property.
Yeah, I am ditto on the supporting reasons. All those in favor? Nobody's opposed. That's carried. All those in favor? Nobody's opposed. That's carried.
Please note that the committee has made a recommendation on this matter that will now proceed to council. No further representations are permitted on the subdivision and rezoning. All persons registered for the public hearing will receive notice when the matter is to be considered by council.
We'll keep moving. The variants are the same. I'll move that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
All those in favor? Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
If public representations be concluded.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
I'll move that in accordance with subsection 2473 of the City of Winnipeg Charter, the variance is consistent with Plan Winnipeg and any applicable secondary plan. It does not create a substantial adverse effect on the amenities, use, safety, and convenience of the adjoining property and adjacent area, including an area separated from the property by a street or waterway. It is the minimum modification of a zoning bylaw required to relieve the injurious effect of the zoning bylaw on the applicant's property, and it is compatible with the area in which the property to be affected is situated. Same supporting comments as previous, Councillor.
All those in favor? Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
Recommendations of the Winnipeg Public Service be concurred in and the variance be approved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, that is carried.
I'll move that the public hearing with respect to this application be.
All those in favor? Nobody's opposed, that is carried.
Please note that the committee's decision with respect to this application may be appealed. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included in the order issued, which will be mailed to all persons registered.
Thank you. The next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 5 is a street closing for portions of Ferrier Street and Murray Avenue for incorporation into DASZ 2125 under file DAC 3 of 2025. In accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter and the Development Procedures Bylaw, this is a combined hearing, and the following items will also be heard at the same time. Namely, item 6 is a subdivision and rezoning at 2823 Ferrier Street, Aurora Phase 11B, under file DASZ 21 of 2025. Item 7 is a variance at 2823 Ferrier Street, under file DAV 141574 2025D. Please note, communications were received in support of, in opposition to, and with respect to the matter, which have been distributed to all members of the committee. The process the committee will follow is the applicant will be heard first, followed by those in support of the application, those registered in opposition, and those registered for information. The applicant may return to speak in rebuttal to comments made. However, no new information is permitted. Speakers will be permitted 5 minutes for their presentations. All participants in the Zoom meeting have been muted and will only be permitted to speak when called upon. Turn it over to the planner for an overview.
The site is on the west side of the Ferrier Street right-of-way between Murray Avenue and the future Chief Peguis Trail Extension Corridor. And actually, to be a bit more precise, as part of this, Ferrier Street is being relocated. So it's the lands east of the current Ferrier alignment. Under Precinct G, under the Precinct G secondary plan bylaw, the property is within the low density residential and limited development policy areas. The applicant is proposing to subdivide and rezone lands shown in map 1, presently zoned A agricultural district to an R1M residential single family medium district to develop phase 11B at Aurora in the North Point neighborhood, creating 55 residential zoning lots and public rights of way for future development. As mentioned under the subject application, Ferrier Street will be realigned and moved to the east onto lands owned by the City of Winnipeg to meet proper intersection safety standards for the alignment of the Chief Peguis Trail extension. The existing right-of-way would be closed under an associated closing application DAC 3 of 25. The surplus city lands west of the new Ferrier Street right-of-way comprise roughly 2.5 acres. Together, that and the existing Ferrier right-of-way would be 6.48 acres. And that would be rezoned to R1M, residential single-family medium, and included in that subdivision area. A total of 55 lots, as mentioned, are proposed. Block 1, it's a few blocks. So block 1 would be subdivided into 20 lots with future development, including front access driveways. Block 2 would be 35 lots, same thing with front access driveways. lots 1 to 6 would back onto Murray, 7 to 31 would back onto the realigned ferry right of way, and 32 to 35 would back onto the future Chief Peguis right of way. Block 2 includes 2 public walks, kind of in the corners, the north and south corners, towards the new ferry and Murray and future ferry and Chief Peguis. So there's some pathways connecting, making it easier to circulate through the neighborhood. Block 8 would remain zone agricultural and would be required to accommodate the future widening for Chief Peguis, per the functional design study. And the city-owned land south of the proposed Ferry Street realignment would retain the current agricultural zoning. So plans for development haven't been submitted at this time. But there is a related variance application which deals just with one residential lot with slightly substandard lot area. We've recommended approval of both applications. Recommendations include a development agreement, including requirements to urbanize local streets and ensure the development has a full range of municipal services, as well as requirements for noise attenuation adjacent to Chief Peguis. And we've also recommended a zoning agreement requiring, that's the wrong one. A zoning agreement which includes a condition that lots backing onto Chief Peguis have noise attenuation. Sorry, I'm trying to find the condition wording, but regardless, it's just to create a buffer from those lots to Chief Peguis. Yeah, with that, I recommend questions, please.
Thank you. That's good. So we'll call the applicant forward. You have Brendan Salico for landmark planning and design.
Is this on the Zoom? Do I need to put it? It's good. Okay. All right. My name is Brendan Salico. I'm a planner and partner at Landmark Planning and Design. And before we get started, just want to thank the administration, the clerks, the committee, of course, and those who are here for what we think is a very exciting final phase of the Aurora at North Point community. I was joined by our colleague from Takata, Ross Yaremko. Unfortunately, he had to head back to Edmonton, but he sends his regards to the community. So in terms of the project team, Takata Investments and Sunrex, they're the developers of over 100 acres in Precinct G, and they're seeking to subdivide and rezone the final phase, 11B, of the successful Aurora at North Point community. Our firm, Landmark Planning and Design, we've been retained to lead a planning, engagement, and development.
Just excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Which we need to do?
There's an issue on the screen.
Oh.
You wouldn't mind.
Okay. Let's see here.
Public record.
That's right. Okay, there we go. So, in terms of the site context, so the subject site is roughly 7 acres in area. And that excludes the new Ferrier Street right of way. And as the planner mentioned, it's generally bounded by the north, by Murray Avenue, to the east by the future Ferrier right of way, to the south by the future Chief Peguis Trail right of way for the extension. And then the west boundary is the existing phase 11A. Just a bit of a zoom in there into the proposal. So again, essentially this is closing that loop, connecting Pegasus Street up from the north and looping back around down to Avior. So one last phase, 55 units, all R1M zoning. Won't go over it in a lot of detail, but the planning context does point to this type of development for a new community. It encourages sustainable development in complete communities, connecting neighborhoods both internally and externally with green space and pathway networks. And then, of course, there's that second layer of planning in this neighborhood, which is the Precinct G precinct plan. And that document has several policies and regulations and objectives that also encourage development exactly like this. So a variety of housing types, lot sizes, again, that integrated walking and cycling network, connectivity to the regional transportation network, parks throughout, and complete communities. The vision of the subject lands in this DAS set is of a lower density residential neighborhood. And again, it completes that final road connection with single family lots. And just wanted to say that, of course, we're in full agreement with the administration's report, both the ACG report and the planner's report worked very collaboratively, not just on this phase, but on several phases over the last roughly decade with the administration and with the councillor's office as well, which has been much appreciated over these years. In terms of the land use map, so again, this is designated as low density residential, which is in the yellow there. So again, but what's being proposed is in line with that policy area. Just wanted to touch briefly on some concerns that were raised because of the notice that went out, of course, which did say road closing. So we did hear from a few stakeholders that thought that Ferrier would be cut off completely. So we just wanted to clarify for folks, anyone who's watching on Zoom or maybe on the YouTube feed, we had the pleasure of talking to some of them this morning who were here and then left because they were satisfied with the response. But essentially, Ferrier will only be closed, or existing Ferrier will only be closed and decommissioned after the new Ferrier is open. So the main concern was that folks would lose access permanently to Ferrier. That isn't the case, so rightly folks were concerned. So we just wanted to clarify that on the record, that new Ferrier would open, again, as the planner mentioned, to be in line with that future Chief Peguis extension for safety, for proper angles and all that. And then once that new one's open and everyone gets access to that new one, then the old one can be decommissioned and included in this subdivision. So just in terms of the landowner sketch, because we are talking about a few different parcels, we thought we'd have this up just for reference. So again, city lands, provincial lands, which is essentially right of way, and then the proponent's lands, all included in this subdivision. And then again, here's just the subdivision plan itself. So we've got north on the right side here, and the existing development to the west, which is at the top of the page. So all zoned R1M, essentially these are all single family homes, which will have front driveways connecting to either Pegasus or Avior at the bottom corner. In terms of the housing types, here they are here. So whereas previous subdivisions in this area had a wide range all the way from single family homes to townhouses and multifamily, because this is just closing that last bay, 55 units of single family homes. And then we just wanted to touch briefly on the connectivity plan. So as the planner mentioned, there are going to be those cut throughs, and we'll show that in a bit more detail on the next slide. But a cut through to the Ferrier-Murray future intersection and a cut through to the Chief Peguis Trail Ferrier intersection. Both of those will have active transportation in the future. So we wanted to make sure that folks going through the neighborhood, particularly down North Point Boulevard, would have that opportunity to be able to continue all the way from McPhillips all the way out to either of those access points to kind of that internal greenway pathway network.
Councillor Reedy moves extension of 5 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And then lastly, one thing we wanted to highlight is that it's very rare these days for new communities in Winnipeg to have sidewalks on every street in the community. This last phase will be no exception. So there will be sidewalks on the streets here, as well as those cut through connections. So that's something that you know, we've heard in our discussions over the years with the councillor, with the community, and something we're very proud to been able to achieve here in Aurora. So just in summary, we feel this is an excellent proposal to finalize this Aurora neighborhood. It's consistent with the plans and policies in place, including the precinct plan. It completes that final road loop connection with single family homes in phase 11. It's a high quality design that really enhances the public realm. It's well connected via pathways and sidewalks, both internally and then externally to both existing and future AT networks. It finalizes the Aurora at North Point development while enabling the city to eventually proceed with the Chief Peguis Trail extension with these realignments. And it's the result of several years of close collaboration with the city administration, with stakeholders, and with the councilor's office as well. So just want to thank you for your consideration on this file, and as always, happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you.
You already answered my question, the sidewalk thing, because you have driveways, but sidewalks are going in, right?
Great, yeah.
Thank you for the detailed presentation, Brendan. It is many years in the making, this last phase. There's lots of conversations on moving Ferrier to the Chief Peguis Trail Extension alignment. Ross Jeremko from Takata has done a ton of work on this file over the years. Sorry, I had to leave earlier. And you yourself, that landmark planning, we've had many, many discussions over the years. And so it's exciting to see the final phase here. Is that particular street named already? I saw a name on.
Yeah.
Is it named or is that a placeholder for now?
I think it's gonna be an extension of Pegasus. So Pegasus, there's Pegasus on the north and Aviar on the south. So I think Pegasus will, for the majority of that block, will be.
There's another street too, though, Pursuits. Is that a placeholder?
Oh, that's right. In the quarter. That's right, yeah. Okay.
You tell me at a later time.
Yeah, for sure.
If that's a placeholder.
Okay.
Or it's just, is it final or is it just for now?
Okay, perfect. Will
Okay,
do.
but Pegasus, yes, would continue.
Mhm.
Pardon me.
This one's already,
It's already in
It's
there.
the block east, or west of.
That's right. It's the north south
It's already,
one. That's right.
so there's no new street names right now.
No, but that's true.
All right. And, Councilor Reedy, did you have something or?
Oh, I have no more questions.
And thanks for raising that, we did speak to folks that were concerned about spirit of closing. We had some of those conversations as well, and we directed them to land development and to the planner and to yourselves, and some folks came today. So I think that there just wasn't a clear understanding of the current barrier would be closing after the new one would be constructed. So you've clarified that?
Yeah,
Because folks need to get to places like Multi-Crete,
exactly. Yeah,
company in that area and other locations.
yeah. Yeah, we realized as soon as the signs went up that, there could be that misunderstanding. So that's why we wanted to kind of proactively reach out and
For putting
appreciate.
that on public record, yeah.
Yeah, and we appreciate the administration as well, clarifying with folks.
Thank you. Yes, I had passed those concerns on. That came through my office because given it's a public hearing, I thought it's good to get the information here or through our administration. In terms of the units, they're single family units. You said it's a low density area that we're finishing off here. And the parks, the park on Sagita, do you know where that's at in terms of construction?
Yeah, my understanding is that the park is currently graded, so and then probably in the next year it'll be finalized. So we're really excited for some good feedback about that one. And then I heard the shade structure as well has gone up in
So
phase
very
4.
good parks in the area.
Yeah.
And so that park is good to get it underway, and then now you have this phase coming online once approved. Okay, no specific questions. I'm very familiar with this neighborhood, as is Councilor Reedy, and thank you for your detailed presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk?
So we had one person registered in opposition, William McDougall, in the room or the Zoom room. Then we had Ranjit Chima registered for information. Room. We also had Renee Carrier registered for information. So I'll just confirm if there's anyone in the gallery who would like to register for support, in opposition, for information. Seeing none, I will turn it over to questions for the public service.
Anything that was missed or you'd like to highlight? Again, lots of conversations that have spanned many years, even when Greg Jasper was here, regarding Ferrier, alignment moving, et cetera. Kevin, any further comments or statements you'd like to make?
No, I'm happy with the way this played out.
Very good. Thank you for your work. There's been a ton of work on this file over the years. Starting with our planner back here. Sammy, you've continued and you've seen a lot of faces come online. Okay, no further questions? Okay,
Would you like to return to speak in rebuttal to any comments made?
I'm good. Thank you.
okay. Madam Clerk?
Yes. Motions.
Move the motion, this is report 5. Is there a reason there isn't closed public representations?
Oh, for the
What I've got in this,
closing?
yeah,
There aren't supporting reasons or representations needed because the recommendations of the committee meet the charter requirements.
so.
So it's for the
I only
subdivision and
got
rezoning.
the first motion I got in this report is
It's for
move the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken, be concurred in and forwarded to the to the EPC.
It's the one.
Closing.
Yeah, that's the correct motion.
It is? Okay.
Yes,
All right.
there's just one motion as per the charter that was stated by the clerk.
Just,
Okay. And
there is
it's
a,
the
there is a
closing.
public service report here. So okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried. And now we'll go to the. Okay.
Please note that the committee has made a recommendation on this matter that will now proceed to council.
Thank you, Councilor Reading. Item 6, the subdivision and rezoning item, 2823 Ferrier.
Let's get into it. There it is. So I got it. Like that. And, okay, I move, that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
Favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
I move that the receipt of public representations be concluded.
All in favor?
Aye. I move that the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be concurred in and forwarded to the Executive Policy Committee priority. My supporting reason, so this is the last one for Aurora. I have to say, Madam Chairperson, it's been wonderful to work with this group over the years and to see what kind of a great neighborhood is being built. This is just going to conclude it, and they're going to be following all the recommendations and considerations that we've talked about over the years. And so I've been very impressed and thank them for helping Winnipeg grow.
Thank you, Councilor Reedy. Exactly that. I'd like to add my comments. I congratulate Takata and Sunrex. Landmark Planning's been there from the beginning. McGowan Russell Group also worked on projects in this development, and it's a very exciting final phase. It's a well after area, and it's a well sought after area. There's a new school currently under construction. There's beautiful park spaces. We heard from Brendan about new amenities like shade structures being installed. There's excellent pedestrian connectivity with sidewalks on each side of the road. And when the first phase started, that wasn't a big challenge or an argument. It's something that the developers just wanted to do. And it was really refreshing to hear that. It's great, high quality design of the homes. Just the feedback that I've received from residents over the years is that they're very happy to have found their home in that neighborhood. And it's a very robust community connections that we see there as well. There was just a movie night a few weeks ago in the park, regular events that the community plans, but it's because of the environment the developers created. So once again, want to congratulate them on this final phase, and it's pretty bittersweet because it's the end of working with them for a very long time.
Yeah.
But for those of you, well, even the planner, you've spent some time in Aurora as well. And heard from me on how happy the families are there. So congratulations to everyone involved. Thank you, Brendan, for the excellent presentation.
And Madam Chairperson, I just want to point out that this actually will be going to the Standing Policy Committee on Property and Development, not Executive Policy.
Is that correct? That's correct. Because is it because
Due to the opposition.
Somebody registered, so
Yes.
even though they left, they still registered. So.
Correct.
that, all the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, that's carried.
I move that the public hearing with respect to this application be concluded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Carried.
Please note that the committee has made a recommendation on this matter that will now proceed to council. No further representations are permitted on the subdivision rezoning. All persons registered for the public hearing will receive notice when the matter is to be considered by council.
Now the variance, yeah, in 2823 Farrier Street. Councilor Eby, if you could have the chair, I'll move that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read. If you could take the chair.
Oh, yeah, I'll take the chair. Oh, sorry, I was looking for
I'll move
that.
that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
All those in favor? Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
That the public representations be concluded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
Move that in accordance with subsection 2473 of the City of Winnipeg Charter, the variance is consistent with Plan Winnipeg and any applicable secondary plan. It does not create a substantial adverse effect on the amenities, use, safety, and convenience of the adjoining property and adjacent area, including an area separated from the property by a street or waterway. It is the minimum modification of the zoning bylaw to relieve the injurious effect of the zoning bylaw on the applicant's property, and it is compatible with the area in which the property to be affected is situated, and the supporting reasons similar to the last item.
All those in favor? Nobody's opposed, that is carried.
That the recommendation of the public service be concurred in and the variance be approved.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, that is carried.
Public hearing be concluded.
All those in favor? Nobody is opposed, that's carried.
Please note that the committee's decision with respect to this application may be appealed. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included in the order issued, which will be mailed to all persons registered.
Thank you. We have a few small items we can get through.
Well, we'll adjourn the hearings, right?
I think that concludes the hearings and then we'll go into the,
So I move adjournment of the hearing.
all in favor?
Yeah.
Contrary, carried. Back to the regular agenda, just for a few quick items. The first one, Madam Clerk.
So we have item number 3, Land Dedication Reserve Fund, City of Winnipeg Parks Open Spaces Division.
I'd like to lay this over and I'd like to ask the administration to contact me because there may be another source of funding perhaps. I want to clarify something. So lay over to the next community committee. Item 3, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried.
That's Thursday, October 2nd.
Okay, thank you. Next item.
Okay, next item is non-conforming approach, 93 George Avenue, that's item number 7.
Oh, sorry, I didn't have a.
Oh, sorry, this is, would Kevin have information on this?
No, I can speak to this one.
Okay.
I just reviewed the required. So this particular block, the public service is supportive. The subject property is the only property on the north side of George Avenue that has access to a laneway. It's a flanking laneway with all other properties requiring access via the front approach. The requested front approach is consistent with the existing context on George Avenue and wouldn't pose a major negative impact on the streetscape.
I'll move the recommendation of public service.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried. Any other items? Okay, I thank everyone for their patience today. It's been a long meeting. A lot of items that were in the queues to get before the committee today. So I thank you for your patience and dedication today. Councilor Eby, will you move adjournment?
I move adjournment, Madam
All in
Chairperson.
favor?
Aye.
Contrary, carried. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.